Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today with EZClaim and BillFlash Next Trust webinar. We're so excited to have you here so we can get you learning about how much your patient payments can increase your practice, you're incentivizing your staff, and just doing some simple tweaks to your workflow. We've got a wonderful presenter here from RCM Insight, Stephanie Cremons, who's going to be going through that with you and giving you some workflow incentives. We've also got a great partnership that we like to discuss with BillFlash to our clients always about how their services can help you with reaching those patients and being able to get those tools that you need within our software and their platform integrated to be able to get those collections going and improve those patient payments. So we do want to do some polls with you today during the presentation. We're also going to be taking your questions, and you can submit those on the GoToWebinar menu board. So you'll find that question box there. And also there's a chat box, so to help Stephanie out with her presentation, we would like to know and ask you if you could right now at this time, click in there and let us know what is your role in the practice. And that will help. So if you guys don't mind chatting that to her, or you can put it in the question box. We will be recording the session as well today, so you can watch it again or share it with colleagues. So we will be emailing that out to you. And with that, I just want to say thank you for joining us, and we will go ahead and hand it over to Stephanie, and she's going to show you how to improve that patient collections.
All right, thank you, Susan. Thanks for EZClaim and BillFlash for having me here to speak with you today. I'm really excited to present some information, kind of a new twist on patient collections and how to improve them. I know this is a topic that we see a lot. And so today we're going to take a different approach to how to improve those patient collections. So a little bit about me. I've worked in the billing and coding field. I've worked in a billing company. I've worked in private offices. I've worked as a billing manager and as a consultant. I currently work with EZClaim as well. And on the side, I also do some consulting with practices to help them improve workflows and make sure that they're collecting all of the money that's on the table for them. All right, so today we're going to focus on, rather than the patients, we are going to focus on inside the office and what we can do inside the office to improve our patient collections. So today, while we take a look at this, we're going to use the analogy of a train ride. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is why. Why is this important, and why is a different approach important? We're going to talk about creating a plan and making sure that your staff and team members have a ticket or a boarding pass to get started. We're going to talk about ways to empower your staff, talking about fueling them and making sure that everyone is getting what they need to be able to perform. We're going to talk about ideas for team collaboration. We're going to talk about being able to enjoy the ride, making it fun. And then we'll talk about the dining car and open up the floor for questions. All right. So first things first, when you are going on a train ride, first thing that we need to do is have a plan, right? So we want to know, where are we going? When are we leaving? Where am I going to sit? What if I have questions? Who can help me? And of course, you know that there's going to be people available to help. So whether you shop in advance or hop on a last minute train, the first thing you need is that boarding pass because it's going to answer the who, what, when, and where. If there's something that you don't understand, then you know that you can find a staff member to assist you. Likewise, your office needs a boarding pass of sorts. So in the case of patient payments, this would be your patient financial policy. Now, we tend to address this strictly from a patient perspective in most of your webinars and things. The patient financial policy is going to talk about when is a patient supposed to pay, how can they pay, where can they get information on the amount that they're being asked to pay, what happens if they don't pay, who can help them if they need to make payment arrangements and things like that. So let's kind of change that point of view for a minute and think about the staff members who are issuing and checking those boarding passes. When have we told them that patients have to pay? Are they clear on that? Or is it an unspoken expectation that a patient pays when they come in? What do they do if a patient refuses to pay? Do they know who can set up a payment arrangement? Is that something that they can do? Is there a team member that they need to get a hold of? And do they know who that is? How do they know if a patient has a balance that absolutely has to be collected today? So a boarding pass or your financial policy will be a really important first step to getting everybody on board. It answers all of those questions, the who, what, when, where, and how. All right, so let's talk about getting some power to our engines. Whether it's diesel, steam, or electric, your train needs power to move, right? I think that staff is also powered by different things as well. Some of them are universal to everyone, and others are based on what's important to an individual. So to start with, let's look at the universal aspects: knowledge, understanding, and consistency. So for knowledge and understanding, they have to know and understand the office expectations to be able to fulfill them. They need training in areas that they're not comfortable with or that they just don't know how to do, such as things like asking open-ended questions so that they'll get a result. For instance, are they saying to their patients, would you like to pay today? Or are they asking your patients, do you have a copay? Or are they asking an open-ended, result-driven question, such as, will you be paying with cash, check, or card? Also, you want to make sure that each member of the team understands how important their part is to the overall goals. Consistency, it's also going to be very important that the financial policies are consistently followed within your office. If you tell a patient, if I'm at the front desk and I tell a patient today that they have to pay, are they going to walk in and complain to the doctor and get a different answer? Are they going to walk out and check in with my colleague sitting next to me who's not going to ask for payment? It needs to be a team effort with everybody being consistent, following the expectations of the practice. All right, so this is going to bring us to our first poll question. How effective is your staff at having conversation with patients about collecting payments? And James, if you want to put that poll out there for me. Perfect. So go ahead and choose where you think your staff is at there. Give everybody a couple more seconds. It looks like right now, almost half of us believe that our teams are somewhat effective. We have lots of very effective. All right, we'll give it just a couple more seconds there. If you haven't answered yet, I encourage you to definitely pop in there and add your response. All right, James, I think we can go ahead and close that poll. All right, so our poll results, we have 36% of our attendees today say that their staff is very effective. Another 36% 6% say somewhat effective, and 27% saying not effective. So we have a pretty good mix on the call. We've got people who definitely have some good starting points. And hopefully for those of you who have very effective staff, hopefully today's webinar is going to give you maybe some fresh ideas to keep them motivated and staying effective. Okay. All right, and then for the 27% that have the not very effective staff, hopefully by the end of the call today, you'll have some great ideas for increasing that effectiveness. All right. Okay, so we know it's really hard to do a job without the appropriate training or understanding how your role affects the rest of the practice. So we want to make sure that whether your staff member is a conductor, an engineer, or a loader, that they understand how important it is to the overall goals of the office. And to do that, we have a few tips. The first thing is your staff needs to be clear, have a clear understanding of what they're being asked to collect. So this may be a place where we need to have a little more training. For instance, if a patient asks your staff member who is trying to collect a balance on the account, if the patient asks, what is this for? And you reply copay, would that staff member be able to explain what a copay is, what co-insurance is, and what a deductible is? I've worked with a lot of practices where this just doesn't happen. A lot of times you have check-in staff trying to collect, and they just don't have the basic knowledge that they need to be able to have that conversation. And nothing shakes their confidence like when the patient starts to question it and they don't know. So make sure that if they're the ones that are going to be doing that collection, just working with them to make sure they understand some of the very basics of what they're being asked to do. Second thing is take some time to encourage departments to work together and get the job done. Have billers work with check-in to understand things like what the copay, coinsurance, and deductible are. Have them also work with them to understand why, if they transposed one number in the member ID number, how that slows down the payment. And then likewise, listen to the staff when they talk about their roadblocks, and then work with them to find solutions to those roadblocks. Next thing we want to do is consider suggestions from team members for updated technology with an open mind. So I know a lot of times it feels like software and medical billing all the way around can feel like it's nickel and dime. I have to pay extra for this and I have to pay extra for that. And there is no one size fits all. So that's why you see a lot of these products and offerings as kind of an a la carte, because what fits for your practice doesn't necessarily fit for another, and that's okay. But when you are considering updated technology, really think about the potential return on investment by having a more efficient process and allowing your team members to focus on other tasks that may be more profitable in the end. And remember that each member of your team is bringing a very unique point of view to the table. We're not all conductors, and that's a really good thing. So when your front desk staff is complaining of things like this process takes a really long time, or when I go to check eligibility, I have to go to 3 different websites, things like that. There is something to that. While you're not doing it every day, it may sound like a minor inconvenience, but listen to what they're saying and really consider what options may be out there to help them move past those roadblocks. Okay, so the next question that I have, and I'm going to ask that you just pop your answers into the chat box. How does your practice feel about incentivizing staff for activities that improve patient payments? So usually when I am having this conversation, I get people that are from one of 2 strong opinions. One side says, yes, let's set goals and give rewards, and the other side is adamant, I'm not incentivizing them to do their job. I'm already giving them a paycheck. So I'm curious what you and or your practice feels about incentivizing staff for some new habits with patient collections. I'm going to give you guys just a couple minutes here to pop some answers in. I personally am a proponent of yes to incentives. I think that it creates an environment that encourages teamwork. It sets clear expectations and goals. And I think in the end, you reap larger benefits than what the offer of the incentive costs the practice. In addition to that, it just makes the office fun. And how employees feel about their jobs are usually pretty transparent to your patients. All right. I'm not seeing any messages come through. Okay, perfect. We have one that's saying that yes, she loves incentives. Anybody else? Let's see here. Okay, and then we've got one that says it's part of the job as well. All right, so it looks like we've got a couple of varying viewpoints, and that is perfect. All right. All right, so let's look at, I am going to ask for those who do not like doing incentives and say it's part of the job, is it due to cost that you don't want to spend additional money, or is it just the idea of it? I am curious about that. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on and just watch for some responses to that. And while you guys are typing out those answers, we're going to talk about some different options. All right, so we're going to move on into our dining car. You probably already know how important it is for your patients to have a variety of options for payment to be able to collect. We have the, for instance, we have card swipes in the office, online, text message links, and things like that. There are all different ways that your patients can make payments. But as we come back around to looking at this from an internal point of view, does every member of your office like the same things? Are they all motivated by the same things? There's a pretty good chance the answer is no. So if we think about this on our train and our dining car, typically we have options on the menu. Everybody doesn't like the exact same thing. People might have food allergies, preferences, so on and so forth. So in the dining car, you have a menu, and you can pick things that will fuel you and motivate you. So what we're going to do here in our dining car is think about what fuels your team members. Is it food? Is it recognition? Is it time? Is it unexpected acts of kindness or surprises? What is it that will fuel your team? So I also encourage you to remember that incentives don't have to cost money. Things like a certificate or bragging rights because someone met a goal or improved their rate of collections on patients that have come in. Bragging rights are often really enjoyed in an office. Maybe a prime parking space if you live in a more in a city and parking is limited. A prime parking space for a few days or a couple of weeks would be awesome. There are some things that do cost the practice, but not necessarily cash. Things like maybe they get an extra 30 minutes at lunch, or If you have the staffing available, maybe you offer an extra half or full PTO day. It really can be customized to whatever fits for your practice. So I really encourage you to delve into getting to know your employees. If you're in a rural area and parking is abundant, a prime parking spot isn't going to provide that return I think that you're looking for. But if you, by the same token, if you have people who are incentivized by things like time, that extra 30 minutes at lunch may pay tenfold for what you're getting in return. If you have some extra cash and you want to make more of a team goal, so that it's not so much competitive one-on-one, but it's more of the team working together towards a goal, consider things like maybe a group activity, bringing in lunch for the team. I've worked with practices that have done like an ice cream social. That one was huge. That went over really, really well. That was a really exciting, fun time for that team. So just remember that incentives don't have to be super pricey. You can fit them to the needs of your practice, and you can spend as much or as little as you'd like. Okay. So now let's talk about our takeaways. You're at the crossing in the road. The first things that I highly recommend that you do is assess the situation. Have some conversations with your staff. Find out what they think is the biggest obstacle in collecting patient payments and what they think would make it easier. That's going to help you to get everyone on board and know where you need to prioritize the first steps. If they find it to be that their biggest obstacle is that patients just don't want to pay their bill, then work on them with maybe some role playing. You take on their role, let them give you the excuses they've heard from patients, and through this, you can help coach them on how to respond to those types of situations. Also, make sure if you don't have one already, make sure that you have a financial plan and that your staff is well educated on that plan and following it consistently. Next thing you're going to want to do is make sure that the team is fueled up with that financial plan, understanding expectations for their specific role, and follow up with providing training and feedback, and back them up when they run into tough situations. I think the biggest fear from a lot of front desk staff tends to be that if I play hardball with this patient and tell them they have to pay, I'm going to run into the situation that I'm going to say they have to, and then I'm going to call a biller, or I'm going to call the manager, or they're going to tell the doctor, and they're going to get a different story. So I'm not going to have that fight because nobody's going to back me up. Third thing, make sure there's options, both for your patients and your team members. Your patients need a variety of ways to be able to pay their bill. So make sure that if you have added new payment options, make sure that your financial policy has been updated with those new technology and things that are available to them. And then you want to make sure to have some fun. A fun environment keeps your employees engaged. If they work together for a common goal, or if you want to engage in some friendly competition among your team members, again, knowing what works best for your team will help you make some of those decisions of, do we do a team challenge, or do we do an individual, and things like that. Next thing you're going to need to do is make sure that you monitor the results and reassess the situation on a regular basis. So once you have updated your financial policy, reviewed it and trained everyone, and put some new things into place, monitor the results. Make sure that you're getting the results you were looking for. If you're not, then you start back at the beginning. Assess the situation, have those conversations about what is causing the problems. Maybe the plan needs to be tweaked. Maybe the staff needs some additional education. Maybe we need to make sure staff members are being held accountable to the consistency of following the plan. We all know when we change the financial rules, it's really difficult to get patients on board, and that's because we have to have our staff on board first. And then we're going to continue every year, at least once a year, to go back and review that financial policy so it's up to date. I would review it with your staff members at least once a year to make sure that they're still staying up to date and making sure that the changes that you have looked to implement are being consistently upheld. Okay. All right. So that is our session this afternoon on that new approach to your patient payments. We can go ahead and open the floor for questions. James, Susan, I don't know if either of you see any questions coming in.
Yeah, great job, Stephanie. Thank you so much for presenting that. Guys, this is the time now we're in that question box there on your GoToWebinar panel where you can ask Stephanie any direct questions. If you want to share anything too as well, I know some of you did put in there, you know, that you like incentives, and if you want to share with the rest of the audience too, maybe what works for you, that's always great.
I would love to hear ideas if there's some incentives that have worked well.
Yeah. Okay, we did have a question come in from Pat. Is there some materials on this?
I don't have any anything written from this particular presentation, but certainly I could put together a quick recap, Pat, to send you if you would like.
Yeah, and remember, guys, we're going to give you a recording of this as well. So if you want your staff
that should actually fit pretty well.
Part in this, yeah. We are going to email you out that recording. And of course, as far as helping you with any tools or what we can suggest to what might work in your office, definitely contact Stephanie there. Her information is up on the screen now. You can email her. And then most importantly, you can also reach out to our partner, Next Trust BillFlash, and their email information is there and their phone number. So if you're using the EZClaim Premier Billing Program, we can do e-statements out to patients, and they also offer some collections and letters on their platform and ways to be able to help you with those tools.
Susan, I just saw a question from Dana. It's a great question. She says, any suggestions for how to best bridge the gap with the biller, or when the biller is using EZClaim, but the front desk does not have access to that as they are using a different EHR, so front desk doesn't see the billing account balances. We currently print the patient balance report from EZClaim and give a copy to front desk each week to look at when patients are scheduling appointments or coming in, but seems to be a disconnect. Do you mind if I take a stab at this first and then you can add on if there's something I'm missing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I have two recommendations. The first one would be, you may want to consider, Dana, we do have a provider portal that would allow read-only access so that they would be able to look up balances and things in real time as the patients are coming in at the front desk. And then in addition to that, if they're collecting payments and things at the office, Susan, you can probably speak a little better to how EZClaim Pay would definitely be able to benefit that scenario, I think.
Yeah, definitely, Dana. We can give you a call after the session too. We can set up something offline, but we do have in the Premier program now a way for you be able to collect patient payments. We have some new features too where we can even text the reminder to the patient or get on with BillFlash and send out that notice that they owe money. So we definitely have some new tools that we can assist you with that. And definitely that provider portal or front desk portal if we just only need them to be able to look up balances or print things out for the patient. So lots of new solutions that we can talk to you about. Anybody else want to ask Stephanie or myself a question, or if it's something that you'd like to ask BillFlash? We do have some BillFlash representatives on the call as well. Okay, Dana, thanks. I'll give you a call. And of course, if anybody needs Stephanie's insight and services, and you might want her to take a look and evaluate your workflows and pick her brain some more on some wonderful ways to help you with that. I know BillFlash has a lot of nice suggestions and tools as well. Their sales team is awesome, and they work already with a lot of our clients, helping you with those solutions. Any other questions, guys? Now's the time to put those in for our panelists. Okay, I don't see anything else. We want to thank everybody, of course, for your time. Oh, sorry, I take that back. Dana's got another one. Is there a way to remove the zero balances from the patient balance reports? Yeah, Dana, so we can definitely in support here at EZClaim help you with that. So we'll take that one offline and give you a call directly to help out. Okay, I don't see anything else. So we want to thank everybody and our presenter, Stephanie, of course.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, BillFlash for hosting and setting up the webinar and inviting everyone to join. Certainly take down that information on that screen in front of you. And of course, we'll be sending you out that recording for any of your colleagues that missed it or staff and you want them to take a look at it again. And we wish you guys well, and thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Yep, we're going to email out that video. And it'll be a link so that you guys can watch this presentation again. All right. Thanks again, Stephanie. Thank you, BillFlash, our
Thank you.
panelists. And appreciate it. Everybody have a great day.
You too. Thank you.